Hello, hello, good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to welcome you to this launch session at the Open Stage. My name is Rafael Evangelista. I am a board member of CGI.br, the Brazilian Internet Steering Committee. This session is about the book launch, Netmundial Plus 10, statement in the 6 UN languages. So I'll have here with me, helping me with the book launch, Pierre Boni from AFNIC. Pierre, can you join us? Okay, Pierre, thank you. Valeria Betancourt from Association of Progressive Communication. Valeria, she's not here yet. Okay. Jennifer Chung from .asia. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? And Renata Miele will join us later after her session ends. Netmundial provided an inclusive platform where relevant actors from all stakeholder groups and regions were able to convene, deliberate, and reach consensus on a new set of guidelines and recommendations. These were designed to address the most pressing challenges facing governance processes in our time. The result of an extensive and collaborative process, Netmundial Plus 10 culminated in the document entitled Netmundial Plus 10 Multi-Stakeholder Statement, Strengthening Internet Governance and Digital Policy Processes. This document is now being published within the CGI book series, and it is available in the 6 official languages of the United Nations, in addition to Portuguese. One of the, this is the book that I'm showing here, okay. One of the central ultimate outcomes of this process was the formulation of the São Paulo Multi-Stakeholder Guideline. These guidelines present a structured yet adaptable set of steps aimed at enhancing multi-stakeholder practices across various digital governance decision-making contexts. By doing so, the next Netmundial Plus 10 outcomes contribute to fostering a more effective, inclusive, and results-oriented model of multi-stakeholder collaboration at the global level. The São Paulo guidelines seek to strengthen governance processes by offering a flexible, inclusive, and actionable framework, grounded in principles of transparency, participation, and adaptability, thereby reinforcing the legitimacy and effectiveness of multi-stakeholder approaches. In light of the importance of disseminating these outcomes widely, the statement has been translated into multiple languages and compiled into a book available in both digital and print formats. Launching this publication at the Internet Governance Forum is a meaningful milestone, one that allows us to promote and discuss the Netmundial Plus 10 results with a broader global community. This moment is particularly significant given that Netmundial Plus 10 recognized the IGF as a forum that ought to be further strengthened and as a central hub for internet governance decisions. Today's launch also serves as a timely opportunity for reflection and dialogue, making 1 year since the Netmundial Plus 10 event. So our session will feature contributions from key stakeholders involved in the process, who will discuss the São Paulo guidelines, the multi-stakeholder statement, and the challenges encountered in producing a multilingual publication of this nature. We are grateful for your presence here and engagement in this session. Printed copies of the book are available. Please feel free to request one if you have received one yet, and the digital version also can be accessed online at cgi.br. So thank you, and I'll hand out to our speakers. Perhaps Pierre can be the first one. Can you, please? Thank you.
Sí. So, obrigado. Thank you very much for welcoming us here. So it's a little bit ironic because I'm going to speak in French, in English, sorry. Because while we are presenting this work that I will talk about a little bit later, in the UN official language and Portuguese, this open space that is a very cool one is the one where you don't have translation. So, so I will keep on speaking English, and just to share the fact that, first of all, having been invited by CGI.br and Nick.br is always a pleasure. We are at AFNIC the French registry, and we see the work that has been done by Nick.br and CGI.br for years as a real example of a multi-stakeholder approach. And an inspiring one, really. Just want to share, of course we are happy to have been able to contribute to translate in French this document, but I want to testify of something that is very important to us, is that Netmundial and Netmundial plus 10 are, I think, the best example of a multi-stakeholder approach that can deliver in a timely manner. And the timely manner is a very important point here. So we can be talking, and that's always good to talk, to exchange, to dig more and more and more some subjects. But sometimes people look at our model, at the multi-stakeholder model, saying, okay, that's nice, but it doesn't deliver anything. And Netmundial and Netmundial plus 10, at two very important moments of the internet governance. The first one, we remember it was after the Snowden thing, and just before the transition of the IANA function and the move of the American government, and Netmundial plus 10 a few weeks before the adoption of the Digital Global Compact. There was a sentiment of emergency. We had to talk and to see if together at a global level we had something to say, to add to what we said 10 years before. The decision to bring all the stakeholders to Sao Paulo, which is always easy because it's always nice to go to Sao Paulo, by the way, was made lately. And CGI.br organized an online platform, very demanding and very efficient. And when you look at these 3 or 4 days of meeting in Sao Paulo that reached that point, you see that in 4 days, you get a consensus that is a solid one, that can last for years, as in other fora, you may talk for 10 years without having anything like that. So that's why, and I will finish with that, that's why we say, and that's not just to be polite, even if we try to be polite, but when we say that your work is inspiring, it's really inspiring. This way of delivering things has to be applauded. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pierre, for such a nice words. And please, Jennifer.
Thank you very much. Well, that is a very hard act to follow, Pierre. I feel like we can just applaud and that's it. We can just celebrate. My name is Jennifer Chung. I work for .asia, and .asia is, of course, is the registry operator for the top-level domain, the generic top-level domain .asia. We have a mandate to promote internet adoption and development and capacity building in Asia Pacific. So obviously, when we're talking about translation, we're doing the Asian languages, specifically Chinese. But taking a half step back and really echoing a lot of things that Pierre has mentioned, Netmundial and Netmundial Plus 10 is really held up to be such a shining example of what works, what actually can be done right with the multi-stakeholder process, with the multi-stakeholder model. And the fact that the entire community comes together and produces something so beautiful is testament to the fact that it actually works. And every time there are naysayers and criticisms about, oh, you know, multi-stakeholder process is messy, it's slow, it doesn't produce results. This is a result. It's beautiful. It's a book. 6 languages. Amazing. So taking another step back as well to look at the content of how we're looking at these things. When we were in the first time around, I was not quite in this space just yet, and I lean on the titans and the luminaries before me to actually set this. But I was part of the Plus 10 review last year, and it was very interesting to see that the principles are still evergreen. It is enshrined in it. We reconfirm that these are the things we want to go for. And then the Sao Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines gives us a way to measure, to look at things with a critical eye, to actually make sense of when we're talking about multi-stakeholder model, we're not talking about one model. We're not talking about a monolith. There are different ways to look at and measure. And another important part is how can we improve the multilateral process? And this actually tells us very much how we can do this. In fact, sitting here, in UN IGF, UN itself is multilateral, but the IGF is multi-stakeholder, and that is the beauty of it. How we are able to work together in this kind of environment. And this is one of the things that really allows us to look at it in a very critical eye. I guess I'm going to turn a little bit to the translation part, which is why I'm here. The interesting part about my mother tongue, Chinese, is I actually have 2, because I speak Cantonese, because I am from Hong Kong, but I also speak Mandarin, which is, of course, the official language, the official Chinese. The script itself is also quite interesting. We have the traditional script, which looks a little more complicated because when you look at the character, there's a lot more lines. And of course, there's the official script, which is simplified. So when we looked into the translation process, we really had to, even within the Chinese community, do a lot of collaboration because we find that certain terms are translated in different ways. And to be as inclusive as possible, we had to consult with and coordinate and cooperate with many, many different friends. So it really isn't just .Asia doing everything. It absolutely isn't. So it's .Asia. There's friends from mainland. There's Scenic friends. There's also friends who understand the different terminologies that is used with the Chinese-speaking community around the world. So I guess I'll stop here with a little bit of flavor and context of that in the translation and hand it right back to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have here Valeria. She could make. And so, thank you for joining us. And please, the floor is yours.
Apologies for being late. It's just running from one session to another. I really value the opportunity to talk about my experience of assisting with the translation into Spanish. But before I dig into the specific issue, what I want to say is that, and I have been saying in different panels, that when we look back at processes that we engage in relation to shaping internet governance and the governance of digital technologies in general, we not only remember the issues that were important for us, the people that we met, the collaborations that we established, we really remember how things happened, how the process was conducted. And I think this is at the core of the multi-stakeholder guidelines. These principles and these guidelines really help us to build different ways of running processes when it has to do with the application of the multi-stakeholder approach to not only to the conversations, but actually to the collaborations and to finding solutions, which I think help us to address specific problems, either acknowledging that there are different interests on the table, acknowledging that the dynamic of a stakeholder engagement is not easy, but actually helping us to move beyond the simple dialogue and conversation, which is essential and important, to specific solutions to address the different and critical challenges that we face in order to crystallize the vision that many of us envisage of having governance that is inclusive, that is democratic, that is transparent, that is accountable. So that all of that is at the center of these guidelines, and the possibility to honor also the principles that were stated 20 years ago in relation to inclusivity in the information society. It's not only to sit in the different stakeholders on the table, but actually to be able to meet their interests and to respond to the realities that people face, acknowledging that the way in which tech is embedded in our lives is really rendering us in many different ways. So in relation to the translation is not just a mere transposition or literal transposition of a specific content from one language to another. When doing the translation, we are actually also expressing different views of reality, different perspectives. So in that sense, the translation in Spanish is not only an exercise and an attempt, an effort to expand the reach of the multi-stakeholder guidelines, but I think it is a very important effort to actually respond to the contextual realities that are needed in order to be able to make progress in democratic governance. So that's the importance for me of having the multi-stakeholder guidelines, the Sao Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines in different languages has to do with that. It's not only a communication strategy, it's not only the possibility for different people to be able to relate with the principles and the guidelines in their own language, but for me it's actually mostly an attempt to respond to the contextual realities of people. If we really want to be inclusive, if we really want to be able to make progress in terms of democratic governance. So let me leave it like that for now.
Thank you very much, Valeria. We have time for questions. Yes? Thank you.
Yeah, greetings, everybody. The process that took place about 11 years ago, the first Netmundial, of course, those that could remember, you know it was like a conscience on the whole information ecosystem. So the Netmundial process has become the conscience of the information society vis-a-vis the multi-stakeholder engagement. So the process was great. Oh, before I forget, I'm Jimson Olufuye from Africa, Africa. The process involved is really a case in point. And I'm so happy that this is being translated so that others can benefit from it. The scoping, the engagement, and the inclusivity across the region is exemplary. And we've been talking about this a lot in Nigeria. And our government people, they've taken, in fact, they have a dossier of it, and it's like the reference point. And we are scaling it across Africa. And so we also offer to at least translate into Swahili, into Yoruba, into Hausa. So we will proceed with that initiative as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more comments? Everton, please. I should say that this was possible because of the great team that we have on nick.pr, those persons who were able to do in a timely manner, and Everton was one of those.
One of those.
And Vinicius was the other, and many
Flavio,
other people.
Paula, so all the nick.pr team, thank you, Rafa. Just very quickly, just as a follow-up of what Jimson was mentioning, Netmundial, the success of Netmundial depends a lot on the future of what we did 1 year ago. So it's a living experience. We didn't, the process didn't stop on those 2 days that we gathered in São Paulo. Part of that is also that the process of translation is still ongoing, so we are open to keep receiving those translations in other languages. The 6 UN languages are published here with the book, but we have an ongoing efforts in other languages as well, so please feel invited to send us those new translations, to contact us also to make those translations available. They will be credited on Netmundial Plus 10 website. So join the effort, because the future of Netmundial is still ongoing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Everton. We have here with us Jorge Cancio, who was also involved in the process of translation, and we will have a few words from him. Please, Jorge. Oh, anything you want.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jorge Cancio from the Swiss government. I'm very sorry that I was late. We had an open forum just discussing, amongst other things, how we can use the Netmundial Plus 10 and the Sao Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines to inspire the different processes we have. So it's really in our hands. So it's like the translations. Well, we did one into Italian, and then our colleague Titi Casa really went over because some of the terminology of our translators wasn't entirely correct. But yeah, it's a joint collaboration. And we did also one to German, and I think nobody else looked at that one but us, but I think it was quite okay. And yeah, it's really in the hands of everyone. But both the overall document, the Netmundial Plus 10 document, and especially the Sao Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines, which are very close to my heart, not only because of the product, but because of the process we had before Sao Paulo and in Sao Paulo last year, which was really amazing, very intense, very heavy, also in emotions, but very productive. It's really in our hands to put them to work. I think that's the most important part of them, to them, because if it's just a piece of paper, it will get forgotten in some years of time. But if we put them to use, be it here in the dynamic coalitions, be it in the best practice fora, be it in the policy networks, or be it in the national and regional IGFs, they will really gain some reality. They will inform what we do on a in a multi-stakeholder fashion at the different levels. So I really invite you, wherever your responsibility lies, be it at the local, at the national, at the regional, or at the global level, to really use them, to put them to work, and to bring back your feedback on what works, what doesn't work, where we have to improve them. And here in the IGF, which is like the caretaker of the Sao Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines, thanks to the invitation of Netmundial Plus 10, this is the place to then keep on evolving them. And just very small commercial on my side in that sense, we are trying to implement them for the Swiss IGF. So we have a role in the Swiss IGF. We are part of a multi-stakeholder community there, and now we are looking into how we use the Sao Paulo multi-stakeholder guidelines to make sure that the processes that affect the Swiss IGF are really bottom-up, open, inclusive, and take into account also the asymmetries of power and influence of the different stakeholders, which is the first guideline from Sao Paulo. So I'll leave it by that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. I'll hand out the microphone to Renata Miele, who was able to join us from another session. Please, Renata.
Well, I'm sorry, I was in another session. First of all, thank you everybody for being here for our book launching. And what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that I'm very, very, very happy to see that the work we've done in Netmundial Plus 10, it was a hard work. We joined some marvelous people in our AGALEC, the committee, the high-level committee that put the Netmundial who organize and help to align all the discussions we made in Netmundial. And some are here with us now and in the IGF. And it's very, very wonderful. There is no words to say how amazing it is to see when we are on a workshop and see people of all the world making reference to the Netmundial multi-stakeholder guidelines. What we try to do when we start this discussion on CGI.br, well, let's do another Netmundial. I think we achieve our goal, and I hope these guidelines can impact on the future of the governance of the internet and the governance of the digital world in a way that the multi-stakeholder approach can be improved and applied in everywhere. So thank you very much. I'm very happy with the result of our collective job, because only in the collective we can achieve things that can be have a real impact in the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Renata. Any more comments? I see people here who were involved in the process. Anyone want to comment? Anything? No? Jennifer, please.
Just a quick comment, actually. I was going to go straight to Akinori. I wanted to acknowledge that he is also on the HLAC, and I'm sure he's going to talk about the translation.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Akinori Maemura, one of the members of the HLEC for the Netmundial Plus 10. And then I am actually the Netmundial 2014. I was involved in the EMC. So this is my second fabulous experience to join this party. I'd like to share two things. One is as the Jorge said, the process was great. I was so totally astonished by the editing process. You know, can you imagine that the all HLEC member is in the Zoom call, and then from all over the world, editing the same, a single Google document to move ahead. So a lot of cursors here and there, and editing, and someone doing some editing in you know, a little bit, you know, what do you say? The sentence of the forthcoming sentences. So it is really dynamic, dynamic process to edit, and then my brain is really sizzling to catch up the discussion. That's one thing. And then another thing is I actually contributed for the Japanese translation of the Netmundial Plus 10 statement, and then it is you know, only, you know, contributing for the Japanese community for you know, better understand what is Netmundial Plus 10 statement and the guidelines are. But it is, for me, it is very important that that statement is not only the statement, but it is get more valuable when it was utilized, made use of in their own process. So I'd like to have it utilized in Japanese, some, you know, some multi-stakeholder process in the Japanese community. So if it is utilized like that, then the value of this document is more and more tangible and then a substantial one. So that's 2 points of mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vinicius, please.
Thank you. I'm Vinicius. I was part of the Netmundial Secretariat, as they mentioned. I won't repeat many of the great sentences that you all already brought to us here in this group, but just to add a small comment related to the translation process itself, we could just reach this result here, this book, because we had a lot of help. We needed and we had a lot of help from many people, from these people here, but also from other people that are not here exactly. For example, we had also Manau, so just recognizing here Manau, Christina Arida, also Zaina, that were responsible for reviewing the translation to the Arabic. We had the same for the Russian translator. We had a collaborator as well. His name? Leonid Todorov, that was also responsible for reviewing the translation for us. We had translators, some translations, it was really a collaborative process. So we had some translations that were made from people here with us. Also some translations made by specific professionals hired for that. But all the translations were reviewed by people of the field, of this field here, the internet governance community, and people that were involved with the Netmundial process and could review the work and help us out with all the details, because there are a lot of details, and you know that. So that's it, just to recognize these people and all this work, because it's a very complex and very minimalistic work, and we really need to be very helped to reach this kind of result. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you, Vinicius. Sure.
A very important comment that I want to make, well, I hope it is important, but as many of you know, we are going through the Plus 20 review of the World Summit on the Information Society. And I think these instruments that we have here, it has very practical pragmatic steps and recommendations on how to make inclusion a reality. And I mention this because the opportunity that the Plus 20 review of the WSIS presents us is to precisely increase the representation of underrepresented views, perspectives, communities, stakeholders. And I think if we really want to achieve the WSIS vision and to make progress in terms of a digital future with dignity and justice, it cannot happen if we don't really, in practice, at all levels, national, regional, local, global, increase the representation of perspectives that have been overlooked or because of different reasons are not present here as they should be. So I think this is a powerful instrument for us to use in order to make sure that those voices, perspectives, and realities are taken into consideration as part of the review. So we actually can move towards a future that, you know, is truly more inclusive.
Thank you. Pierre?
Yeah, thank
Jennifer?
you. If I can add a few words, because I was so thrilled by the process that everyone talked about, that I almost talk about that only, but on the translation process in French. So first of all, I want to thank Lucien Castex, because it has been a work to read the translation that we asked to a professional translator. And in that process, I think, we see in this document that the concept of the internet governance are better translated than, for instance, the official translation that we can find even in the UN system. Because when you had the WSIS, for instance, the translation of the Geneva Declaration and Agenda of Tunis was made by very competent translators from the UN system, but not from the field. So now if you look at the words, at least in French, there is a new translation of IG concept that is closer to the field than it was before. So maybe it gives an idea for the next WSS plus 20 process to ask some of the community, of the multi-stakeholder community, to read the official translation of the UN before they are published. Maybe it will be more understandable later. But anyway, thank you to have given us this opportunity to do it. And once again, thank you to Lucien, who have done that brilliantly in French. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, please.
Thank you so much. Just very briefly, because of what Akinori and Valeria said about going through the WSIS plus 20 process, and actually this is a good time to use and actually kind of enshrine these principles, these guidelines into the input. And I wanted to take up on specifically on translation because of language, because we are, when we live and breathe internet governance and multi-stakeholderism, we live and dream it, we are able to actually translate it into our native languages. And this actually helps us with capacity building in our own communities for them to understand these concepts so they too can be leveled up to be able to substantively input into the WSIS plus 20 process. So this is such a valuable undertaking, and thank you again, CGI, WR, Renata, and all of those, I'm looking around, I don't see them anymore. Everton and Vinicius and all of, oh, there you are, to actually do this, to enable us to have this resource so we can uplift our own communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We thank us, you, Jennifer. People are saying to me that I have to say to you that you are the copy of this book is free, so please pick up one of these. We have some on our booth as well on the CGI.pr, but I think there are many on the tables, on the chairs. And anything, anyone wants to add? Some more comments or from the audience? We still have 5 minutes. I want to ask you a question, if you allow me. Is there anything in the process of translation that made more clear to you or made more important to you some of the principles that are in this book? Like, I know that the process of translation is always a process of rethinking, reflecting on the text. So if you have something on your mind. Jorge told us about power imbalances, which is very much addressed in this book. So please.
I can say something. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, translation it's also permeated by politics. Yeah, your politics, your understanding of processes, of existence, of issues, of problems, of your own reality, all of that is also translated into the exercise of translating content. So in that sense, I think the fact that we have the Netmundial principles in different languages, it also increases the level of appropriation. An appropriation of the instruments that we have at the moment, whether they are frameworks of principles, whether they are guidelines, whether they are set of policies or practices, whatever the instrument it is, the possibility to relate with those instruments on your own language, I think increases the possibility or appropriate them in a way that is meaningful. And only by being meaningful, we can engage with the governance arrangements that could respond to the challenges that we face in a way that really means something for the different groups and realities. So that is what I want to highlight in terms of the translation. It's not exempt of those politics and the political dimension that the processes have, particularly if they have to do with the governance of digital technology.
Thank you. Renata?
I want to make a comment, not about the translation process, but about the importance in have the guidelines in different languages. when we are when I'm going to discuss the Netmundial Plus 10 guidelines with Spanish people, I don't read the guidelines in English or in Portuguese. I look for the guidelines in Spanish because I can see the difference in the impact that the very specific language has in the translation. So for us, it's amazing to see that. When I'm going to talk about in English, I go to the English version because it's different for the Portuguese. And other day, I make a meeting and I talk about the Netmundial Plus 10 for Brazilian people. And I didn't read the Portuguese version till that moment. And I saw differences that make more sense in Portuguese. So for us, also is important to have this book in all these languages. It's very interesting and education process for me.
Jorge?
Yeah, perhaps a similar example. We were having a discussion in the management board of my office where we were talking about a process, a procedure that was rather internal, but that had some elements of needing inclusion and openness. And it was super handy for me because I could refer to the text, to the process steps, both in German and in French, because normally it's the languages we work in, we discussed. And it has a completely different impact for my colleagues who are not used to work in English, so that I could show them, indicate them the text I was referring to in German or in French. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments? I think our time is over, so please, Renata, want to say something? No? Yeah.
Yes, no. I want to say, don't go. Let's take a picture with everybody who is here from DH LEC before closing the session.
Okay, so let's make a picture. But thank you all for attending this presentation, and please pick up a copy of the book. Okay, thank you.